Are you using a flawed formula for wealth? In this video, I'll teach you this formula, why it's flawed, and what to replace it with. Hi, I'm Matt Kennedy, the founder of Kennedy Wealth Design and the author of the best-selling book, Untapped Wealth. I work with entrepreneurs, business owners, and high-income professionals, helping them have a better life, a better business, and a bigger future. Please subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell so that you'll be notified when we post new videos. You know, the majority of the financial world puts their faith in one formula. Wealth equals money times interest rate times time. In other words, what they say is take money out of your business and invest in other businesses through the stock market. And if we were to graph this formula, it would look something like this. And so if you had a problem, if you weren't going to have enough money to retire, then they would just solve for the problem in the formula. So not going to have enough money? Well, maybe we need to increase the interest rate. If we get a higher rate of return, you'll have more money, but that also increases the risk. Or, maybe you just need to work longer. We don't have enough time to retire given the present rate and the present amount of money going in. And so if you'll just wait another 10, 15, maybe even 30 years, time will be your friend and you'll become wealthy. And while the numbers are true in a sense, money doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work like that. Investments typically don't work like this graph, producing consistent returns with no losses over a long period of time. Investment losses shorten our time horizon. This is a graph of the stock market over its last 100 years. Lots of volatility. And every time there's a loss, we not only lose value, but we also lose time because that time has to be made up while we gain our investments back. Inflation erodes at our income. The cost of living keeps increasing. Just pulling an inflation calculator from the web, it shows that a $100,000 income in 1995 would have to be $167,000 in 2019 to spend the same as that $100,000, meaning to buy bread and milk, that $100,000 that you could buy bread and milk on in 1995, you'd have to spend $167,000 in 2019. So imagine if you retired in 1995. And your wealth formula said you had plenty of money to safely withdraw $100,000 a year from assets. Inflation would erode at that. You would either have to decrease your lifestyle or increase your income. And if your rate of return, your investment rate did not keep up with that inflation rate, you could be really in trouble. Taxes are volatile and erode our income and values. This is the chart of the top U.S. tax brackets since 1913. They're volatile. They're all over the place. So what this chart doesn't show is that the hundreds of times over this time frame that Congress has maybe lowered or raised the tax bracket, but they've changed the income threshold to be in those tax brackets. Very volatile, very hard to plan. This is a big one. Income gets interrupted, so savings gets interrupted. Did you know that the latest stats are that a 35-year-old has a 50% chance of becoming disabled for a 90-day period or longer before age 65? If that were to happen, what's most important? Food and shelter or saving for retirement? We know the answer to that. Savings and investments get interrupted. In 2018, U.S. businesses laid off 21.9 million workers. And while in 2020, we are at a historically low unemployment rate, business is still volatile. Dollars are spent educating kids and making memories on trips and in vacation homes. This is big for me because you only live once, and I only have my boys at home for a certain amount of time. And so I want them to have a great education. I want to make memories. I want trips. I want vacation homes. And so this wealth formula can break down because life gets in the way. A friend and peer that I respect, Garrett Gunderson, proposes a different formula for wealth building. He calls it the money velocity formula. And it's simply this: money velocity equals output divided by input. Or a simple way to say that is simply cash flow. So the secret to wealth, according to this money velocity formula, is to increase your output faster than your input. In our practice, we've learned that there's really two ways to do that. The first is to create more cash. And in your business, we've identified 8 drivers of value that really help you re-engineer your business so that you are looking at it through the eyes of an acquirer, someone who would like to purchase your business. And when you reorganize your practice or your business around these 8 drivers of value, it's been proven to increase offers by up to 71%. We've also identified 12 growth accelerators. These growth accelerators will rapidly grow your business, identify your centers of profit, and will help you to implement these in your practice. Step 2, we want to stop losing cash. In our practice, we call this wealth transfers. And a wealth transfer is simply this: whenever money leaves my balance sheet and ends up on somebody else's balance sheet, that's a wealth transfer. And I want to pay close attention to those types of transactions. There's several in your business or your practice that we have identified. First is taxes. Business owners have lots of tax tools available to them, and many accountants and CPAs are well versed in some, but not all of the ways to reduce your taxes. When I pay more taxes than I owe, or pay more taxes than I could have paid had I reorganized my financial world, that is a wealth transfer. Money leaves my balance sheet and ends up on the federal government's balance sheet. Equipment loans. Financing equipment loans are one of the largest wealth transfers. The way we pay those and how rapidly we repay those could end up costing us hundreds of thousands of dollars more than the actual cost of the equipment. Supply cost, college education for our kids, transferring wealth from our balance sheet to the college's balance sheet. We want to do that as efficiently as possible. Mortgages and paying cash. This is one that's a lot of people look at equipment loans and college education and mortgages, and they say, well, I'll just pay cash so that I don't have to pay that interest. But when you pay your own cash to try to save the interest, you also are losing interest as well. That's called lost opportunity cost. So saving interest may not be the same as earning interest. And so when we dig in with these wealth transfers, we find that most of our business owner and dental clients that we sit down with, we usually find are potentially losing between $2 to $5 million over their lifetime. Now think about this. If by scheduling a 15-minute call with us, discussing your financial world, if at the end of that 15-minute call, you enter into our process, and over the course of that process, we could write a check for $2 to $5 million and deposit it into your future, into your retirement, would that make a difference for you? You know, I've asked that question to lots of people, and the answer is always the same. Of course it would. Listen, our mission here is to give great, helpful information. So be sure and subscribe to this channel if you like what you saw today. And also make sure you click on that notification bell so that you'll be notified when we post new videos.